Hello. Today I want to talk to you about the effects of mineral deficiencies on your health. So, minerals are one of many nutrients your body needs to prevent disease and to really operate at its most efficient state. But the thing about minerals is your body does not produce minerals at all. And so you really have to get them through your diet. So your body really only needs a small amount of minerals, but if you have inadequate amount of certain minerals, they can have very serious and sometimes even life-threatening effects on your health. These include risk of multiple diseases. So the lack, can also cause mild symptoms like poor energy level, productivity problems, and kind of mental fogginess. So it's really important that you really can't underestimate the importance of consuming enough minerals. So what are some of the causes of mineral deficiencies? Well, the most common cause is you're just not getting enough from your diet. And some diets can even put you at higher risk. So common causes or risk factors that include if your diet is really kind of junk-based diet, or you're really not eating healthy foods. Another risk is if you're on a low-calorie diet. So if you're doing weight loss plans or something like that, or if you have an eating disorder and you start eating enough, that puts you at risk for mineral deficiencies. As we get older, we often have a decrease in our appetite. So older people are more risk of nutrient deficiencies because they just aren't eating enough. And then various kind of diets. So if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, or if you have particular food allergies, you may be deficient in certain minerals just because you're not eating the items that are required to get certain minerals. And then if you have digestion or absorption problems, this also is an increased risk of mineral deficiencies. So things like alcoholism, if you've had digestive tract surgery, such as a part of your small bowel removed, certain medications like diuretics, laxatives, antacids, and antibiotics all affect absorption. And if you have diseases of the intestine, liver, kidney, pancreas, gallbladder, that's also going to affect your absorption. And then you may have increased requirements of certain minerals. So, for instance, women need more iron when they are pregnant, menstruating. So it's also what kind of state you are in your life and what minerals you're needing and how much you're eating. So, what are some common types of mineral deficiencies? Well, the health effects are going to be dependent on really what is missing in the mineral or what mineral you're missing. So let's begin with calcium. So calcium deficiency. So calcium plays vital roles in development and maintenance of strong bone and teeth. Also plays vital roles in proper functioning of your heart, muscles, nerves, and blood vessels. Most adults need around 1,000 milligrams of calcium daily. But women over 50 and men over 70 actually need more, around 1,200 milligrams of calcium. You need calcium through bone fish, beans, dairy products, dark leafy vegetables, and calcium fortified products like cereal and juices. Now, the amount of calcium in your blood is very well controlled, and your body stores any excess calcium in your bones. So if you become calcium deficient, your bones are going to release this calcium, this stored calcium. And so you're not going to really see a lot of symptoms at the beginning because the calcium level in your blood will be maintained normal because it's pulling calcium out of your bones. However, long-term deficiency means that you're pulling more calcium out of your bones. It's going to leave you with soft or brittle bones. And this is why, the most common symptom of calcium deficiency is something called rickets in children and osteoporosis in adults. And really both of these increase the risk of fractures because of weakening of the bones. Other symptoms of severe calcium deficiency include muscle cramps, numbness, tingling, fatigue, and poor appetite, and irregular heart rhythms. So calcium is very important. The next mineral is iron. So dietary iron, it's essential for hemoglobin production, and hemoglobin is a protein that delivers oxygen to your tissues. So iron is also part of proteins and enzymes that your body needs to be healthy. There's kind of two types of dietary iron. There's what's called heme iron. This is very well absorbed by the body and is really only found in animal type foods or foods that are based on animal or meat. So red meat is especially rich in this type of iron. Other excellent sources include organ meat like liver, shellfish like clams and oysters, and then canned sardines is also a good source of the heme iron. Now, the other type of iron is the non-heme iron. It's more common and it's found in both animal and plant food or plant-based food, but it's not easily absorbed as much as the heme iron. So it's more prevalent, but your body doesn't absorb it as well. So good sources of the non-heme iron include beans, seeds like pumpkin, sesame, and then dark leafy vegetables. You know, iron deficiency is one of the most common mineral deficiencies globally. It really affects over 25% of the world's population. The deficiency usually develops slowly. It results in anemia, which will make you tired, out of breath, even with minimal physical exertion. However, there are certain groups of people that are more prone to iron deficiency. This includes children, which will impair their social and cognitive development. Women, it affects about 30% of menstruating women because of the monthly blood loss. It also affects up to about 42% of young pregnant women as their requirements go up. Iron deficiency anemia during pregnancy increases the risk of death for both the mother and low birth weights for infants. Another risk group is vegetarians or vegans because they predominantly consume non-heme iron, which, like I said, is poorly absorbed. So adult men and women over 50 need about 8 milligrams of iron daily, and adult women below 50 need about 18 milligrams. Now, iron deficiency can produce symptoms like weakness, impaired immunity, and decreased brain function. Interesting, vitamin C actually improves iron absorption. So eating vitamin C rich foods like oranges, bell peppers, kale, with other iron rich foods could help maximize your iron absorption. So here's a little bit of a word of caution as we talk about these. Most of these minerals, if not all, you can find in supplement form. And I'll talk a little bit more about that, but specifically with iron, you must be extremely cautious and really don't take supplements of iron unless you really need it. And that's because excessive iron can be extremely harmful for you. So just because it's something that's sold over the counter and you don't need a prescription for it, doesn't necessarily mean it's something that's not without potential harmful effects. The next thing I want to talk about is iodine deficiency. So iodine is essential for normal thyroid function and the production of thyroid hormones. Thyroid hormones, they're involved basically in vital processes like growth, bone maintenance, brain development, and thyroid hormones also control your metabolic rate. So iodine is also essential in pregnancy and infancy because that's for healthy growth and cognitive development in children. So most adults need about 150 micrograms of iodine per day. And some good sources include fish, eggs, dairy products, and seaweed. Now, the most common symptom of iodine deficiency is goiter. That's really just enlarged thyroid gland. Iodine deficiency can cause weight gain, shortness of breath, increased heart rate, and severe deficiencies can also cause serious harm in children and really result in intellectual disability and developmental abnormalities. So iron deficiency is one of the most common mineral deficiencies. It affects nearly a third of the world's population. Fortunately, there are many countries that have made fortifying table salt with iodine mandatory, and this has significantly helped reduce the incidence of iodine deficiency. So, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, about 86% of the households worldwide now are consuming ionized salt, meaning salt that has iodine in it. Next thing I want to talk about is magnesium and magnesium deficiency. So magnesium controls many of your body's functions, including brain, muscle, and nerve function, bone and teeth structure, blood pressure and glucose levels, protein production and energy metabolism. And in fact, there's over 300 enzymatic reactions that are require magnesium to function. So adults typically need between 310 and 420 milligrams daily. And some magnesium-rich foods include nuts, seeds, dark chocolate, whole grains, dark green leafy vegetables, and legumes. So although magnesium deficiency is not common in healthy people, there are chronic diseases where it really is prevalent, and there are certain medications that can trigger it. So low dietary intake and absorption problems can also result in magnesium deficiency. So according to some studies, low magnesium levels are prevalent among high hospital patients. And in fact, it can affect up to 65% of hospitalized patients. So mild deficiency of magnesium can cause things like poor appetite, fatigue, nausea, vomiting. But in severe forms, it can lead to numbness, tingling to the extremities, migraines, restless leg syndrome, muscle cramps, seizures, and abnormal heart rates or heart rhythms. So long-term deficiency can cause serious symptoms that go unnoticed, such as high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, heart failure, and osteoporosis. So magnesium is something that is very important to us. So it's important that we're eating the diet, that we're getting adequate magnesium. The next mineral I want to talk about is potassium and potassium deficiency. So potassium is essential for proper muscle contraction, heart function, and nerve transmission. So some enzymes also needed to function, including enzymes responsible for turning carbohydrates into energy. So adults need approximately 3,400 milligrams daily, and women need about 2,600 milligrams. Fruits and vegetables like bananas, plums, beets, green leafy vegetables, avocado, those are all excellent sources of potassium. And then orange juice and nuts are also rich in potassium. So excessive fluid loss is actually the most common cause of potassium deficiency. So prolonged vomiting, kidney dysfunction, medication like diuretics can all cause potassium deficiency. Some symptoms of potassium deficiency include weakness, muscle cramps, constipation, bloating, and abdominal pain. Severe deficiencies can cause muscle paralysis or irregular heart rhythms that actually can result in death. So, potassium is pretty important. The next item is zinc and zinc deficiency. So, this mineral plays a role in many areas of the body's metabolism, including wound healing, protein and DNA synthesis. It also supports proper growth and development during pregnancy, childhood, and adolescence. And zinc has been shown to promote immune function. So it can help you resist infectious diseases like diarrhea and pneumonia. Adult men need about 11 milligrams daily, and women require about 8 milligrams daily. Good sources of zinc include red meat, poultry, dairy products, whole grains, beans, nuts, seafood like oysters. Zinc deficiency can impair your immunity, which makes you more prone to infections. It also slows down children's growth. It can also cause loss of taste, smell, and appetite. So how do we manage mineral deficiencies? Well, it depends on what the mineral is and also the severity, but also the underlying causes of deficiency. But really, through diet modification, you're able to address most of this. So it's really just about eating the right foods and knowing what those foods are. Sometimes you do have to supplement various forms of these minerals. I would advise you then that talk to a healthcare professional to kind of decide what the best course of action is, specifically if you're trying to manage underlying medical conditions. But again, eating the right foods in the right quantity is really the best way to address any minor deficiencies, and that's understanding what the foods are. So you may seek the guidance of like a dietitian or a nutritionist on helping you identify what foods contain what minerals that you need. Now, again, on supplements, I said earlier that all these things are available in a supplement form. But again, just because they're available, you don't need a prescription or anything like that, doesn't mean that they don't have potential harmful side effects. So really, I caution people on trying to make sure they have an adequate intake of these different minerals through a regular diet, whole foods kind of diet. And then obviously if you have illnesses or something that's causing you to have a deficiency, then you may need to take supplements. But again, too much can be harmful, so therefore I advise, seek counsel with your healthcare provider. The best thing to do is to prevent mineral deficiencies. That's really the best approach. And how you do that, like I said, is really eat a balanced diet that basically contains whole mineral-rich foods. And so if you have a good, healthy diet, you shouldn't have any of these deficiencies. But unfortunately, sometimes we're on medication or have other chronic illnesses that does affect that. And so there is a place for supplements. But again, it's not routinely needed. So the big part here is just to make sure you're eating a well-balanced diet, fresh, nutritious foods. And again, highly processed foods should be avoided, and understanding what medicines you're on and how they impact your body is also essential. But at the end of the day, it's really about understanding yourself and then making adjustments in those whole foods so you're getting adequate nutrition. With that, remember, your health and wellness journey is something that we're all on, and we're at different areas in that journey, but in the end, it's up to us to make sure we're doing everything we can. Important thing to remember that is that it's on you, which means you're empowered to be healthy, and that means that you get to choose this. So just remember, when it comes to your health and wellness, you've got it. Thank you.